What is up? People of the internet, it is Dave, it is Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I will be checking out the new album from Danish Doom Blues quartet, Bogwife.
I'm your wife now, Dave.
The band's new album, From Ashes, will be released on November 7th via Majestic Mountain Records. Re-emerging after 4 years in the wilderness from the murky depths of Scandinavian folklore and the heavy underground of Aalborg, Denmark, Bogwife is a psychedelic stoner doom blues band known for their crushing riffs, thunderous drums, and immersive hypnotic soundscapes. The band's third studio album, From Ashes, will see them teaming up once more with revered Swedish label Majestic Mountain Records. Taking their name from a mythological creature said to haunt the swamps of Northern Europe.
Oh, no, let's go with Northern music. We want to write some Northern music, then you must pay homage to the Bogwife.
The Bogwife.
So, you better not be getting pissed out there.
That's a joke only.
It's literally the only ones laughing right now.
Bogwife's debut album, Halls of Rebirth, in 2020 earned acclaim on the Doom charts, and their follow-up, A Passage Divine, in 2021 expanded their sonic vision with greater depth and intensity. This new chapter marks a bold evolution in Bogwife's sound, a continuation of their exploration of light within darkness, and reverence for everything from the tiniest organisms to the vastness of mountains and seas. Rising from the ashes, Bogwife's music remains a powerful quest to find the small rays of light, inevitably emitting from even the darkest corners. The album was recorded, produced, and mixed by Jakob Bredal.
Of course it was.
Dead Rat Studio in Aarhus, Denmark, and then mastered by Brad Boatwright at Audio Siege.
Of course it was, and we love you, Brad.
The partnership.
I mean, the unbreakable duo, forged in the mighty fires of Bogwife. I mean, Northern music. I mean, Northern, like, what was I saying? I kind of feel like if this was Conan the Barbarian, you'd have to travel through the seas of Bogwife so you could face the almighty battle of Jakob Bredal and then work your way up Mountain Boatwright. I just get the feeling that's kind of it feels like an odyssey that I am absolutely 100% ready to take.
Okay. I never heard of the band before, but anything involving Jakob and Brad.
I was about to say, I wonder how this came on your radar. I mean, it's answered.
I saw their names in the press release. I was like, okay.
Hello. Taking that.
Yeah.
One for them. What? Ming.
100%. And I thought we've got two previous albums, so like, who am I to disregard those? And
you went like deep.
Yeah.
You went deep into the Bogwife, eh?
I said,
bastard.
I set album 3 to one side, and I said, right, hit me with your best shot, Bogwife. So I gave Halls of Rebirth and A Passage Divine a quick blast. Just to see what we're dealing with here. Who are we dealing with?
Well, Dave, I'm going to ask you right now, what are we dealing with right here?
What are we dealing with? I was pleasantly surprised, Duncan. Unsurprisingly, a lot of this in Dave and Duncan's wheelhouse.
Yes, I mean, like when you said we're reviewing a band called Bogwife, I was like, I think I know what this sounds like already before I hit play. And when I hit play, I did smile a little bit to say, not only am I right, but I'm also happy to be right.
Yeah. So first album, thick.
Three
doom.
C's. All right.
3 C's, thick, doom and sludge. Guitars are filthy, like absolutely filthy. Jakob and Brad also behind the production, so no real surprise that it sounds fucking amazing. And album 2 does not get off that train either, Duncan. Holy shit. A Passage Divine. It's almost venturing into Conan territory.
Jesus.
With like how heavy the guitars are on album 2. I was like, holy fuck, like these guys they ain't playing around, this band. So I was like, okay, like album 3, let's do it. Like, what you got on offer here? From Ashes, hit play. And I was like, huh. there's been a shift here.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like Conan, Dave.
This is much more playful than I was expecting on album 3. After hearing the first two albums, so album 3, yeah, I mean, it still has like splashes of doom and sludge in there for sure, but it's definitely not the essence of this album sound. This is much more upbeat than the first two albums. That even like tempo wise as well, it's been raised a little bit. The riffs are, how would I explain it? The riffs are more notey.
They're more like The Sword.
They are, very much so. That band is in my notes quite a few times.
Oh, sorry. I need to shut the fuck up. That's what I need to do.
Yeah, so like the first albums, it's big, heavy power chords, doomy, and full of heft. This is like kind of southern and bluesy, and like if you listen to like the opening track on A Passage Divine, it's like full on, like just head first doom riffs, very thunderous. This, on the other hand, like they've pulled it back a little bit in terms of the heaviness, but also kind of developed the sound as well. Like not just like the tracks, but like structurally as well. There are like defined verses and choruses here, which the old stuff had, but it wasn't as pronounced. You were like, is this a chorus or what is this we're listening to here? You're not quite sure, but like when the chorus kicks in on From Ashes, you're well aware this is the chorus, and you're probably going to be singing along when it does kick in. Now, I did notice they changed guitarists from the last album to this one, although old guitarist and new guitarist have the same surname. So either they're maybe related, or Nielsen is just a very common name in Denmark. Who knows?
It is, well, I can tell you now, it's their equivalent of Smith over here.
Is it all right? Okay.
Yeah, it's a very common name, but also I love this idea now. I've got this idea of, like when like restaurants go out of business and they just like just change the first letter again. I do love this idea of he's like that. I've had enough of this band, and then he's like that. Actually, I haven't. But the press statement's already gone out. I'll just change my name. I'm no longer Steve. I'm Sven. So
yeah. So, but I'm not sure like how much the change in guitarist has like kind of changed the writing style or direction they wanted to go in. I'm not entirely sure, but the sound on From Ashes is definitely in the newer territory for this band. And as much as I liked the previous releases, and like how like colossal they sounded, I think we get way more bang for our buck on this release. Firstly, way more varied stylistically. Yeah, as I said, bit of doom, bit of sludge on occasion, but generally hitting that kind of stoner, southern blues, kind of touch of like psych rock in there as well for good measure. And I think that expansion in sound just gives the band way more options in terms of where they can take this album. Even in just like the tempo and the rhythm from track to track, you're getting much more variance in that department. I love the kind of swaying, kind of almost kind of sea shanty rhythm of Shivering, but it's got this kind of doomy undertone to it, keeping it heavy, especially the kind of middle part where they lean into that kind of groove. Also, when they pull it back, there's like a track called No Church where they give you something much more kind of blues orientated. And I think that blues side also allows them to show a little bit more emotion than they have previously. It wasn't like always kind of obvious on previous releases. It's like it's difficult to make like world-ending doom riff sound poignant. You know what I mean? It's like that's a difficulty, but they definitely bring more of an emotive kind of delivery on these tracks, which I really liked. And it lets the vocalist Mikael show a bit more vocally as well. I think he has a tone which has that kind of Graveyard meets the Sword kind of type style as well. And on the previous albums, because he was competing with such a heavy backline, there weren't many opportunities for him to show a more kind of delicate side to his voice, or it would have just been drowned out. But on this album, you get more shades of his vocal, which again makes things more interesting. Same goes for the guitars. If you like take a track like Heavy Burden Blues, which is very Graveyard-esque, but that track really gives him scope to show more melody and more nuance in the guitar work, as well as really kind of let rip with more lead work. And like they're very good at it. Like the fact this is their first kind of venture into more kind of bluesy, kind of stoner rock territory. It's kind of nuts because it sounds very seasoned. Like you would think they've been doing this kind of stuff the whole time, but the way they kind of handle this and deliver it on this album is very, very well done. Ages was another track that really caught my attention. It's a little bit kind of early clutch kind of adjacent. It's got a really cool groove, got a real driving riff to it. It's got a bit of a southern kind of swagger to it, but the up tempo part that kicks in about a minute and 45 in is like super catchy as well. The track itself is only about 2.5 minutes, which again is something they've never done before. Pretty much everything on their previous 2 albums was like 5-6 minutes plus in length. So it's cool again to hear them experiment with shorter tracks on this, and I think they really work. There's no like, you don't get that feeling of like excess or like, oh, they're dragging this track out a bit too much, unnecessarily. The only real kind of long track on the album is the closer at like 7.5 minutes, which I think, to be honest, is acceptable. It's the closing track. They can do something a little bit different, and they do. Like it's a track where maybe their kind of inspiration or influence goes maybe further back. I got a bit of a kind of like 60s kind of character coming through in this. Kind of, let's say, like kind of Jefferson Airplane, or even like a band like Cream coming through. That kind of lead work, it's like kind of folky, psychedelic kind of feel to it. And they allow that track to really kind of slowly build before opening up the heavier guitars and getting a bit more kind of doom and blues infused as the track goes on. But I really like the way it closed. Production's also perfectly suited to this. Like,
oh yes,
I love that Jakob and Brad have like tailored the production to the evolved sounds that Bogwife have brought to the table on album 3. It's got a lovely like vintagey feel and instrumentation. It's really full sounding, nice character. Vocally it sounds brilliant. Perfect amount of reverb, especially on those tracks like No Church or Heavy Burden Blues, where the vocal has more of a spotlight, more attention. That reverb just really lets it kind of fill up your headphones. I really enjoyed my listens to this. They've got influences. It's not stuff I haven't heard done kind of before, but as a whole I felt like I was impressed with the kind of the new levels of songwriting that the Bogwife have shown since the last album. There's clear improvements from the band, and I'm loving this kind of more evolved sound they've got on this release. I really enjoyed this one. What about yourself? What did you think? What do you think of the Bogwife?
I mean, you've kind of hit the nail on the head when you said like this is when you hit play and it's very much in our wheelhouse. To me, the first thing, I didn't do my due diligence like you, Dave. I never do it. And if anyone expects that to ever change, it's not gonna. I'll laugh at you with this. I'm not gonna do it. I go in sometimes completely blind, as I did with Bogwife. Although, like I said before, kind of comfortable that I kind of knew what they were going to sound like, and yes, they did sound like I kind of thought they did. We mentioned The Sword. I loved it. Like, I genuinely love The Sword. The band that I think have reunited. I can't remember. I remember they were getting back together for. I don't know if that means an album, but they got back together for gigs. Genuinely, a band that I think were never really given their flowers when they were around, and like when they disappeared, I thought, well, people will realise what they missed then, and that never seemed to happen either. And I was like, what the fuck's going on here? But a band that we saw live and genuinely kind of fell in love with in the live setting because, and actually we interviewed them as well back in the day, and I got a feel for like these guys are like geeky musicians. They live in that headspace of just wanting to experiment and want to write and jam. Was that the ultimate thing that I got from them was they want to jam. The ultimate thing I get from Bogwife is this is a band that wants to jam, right? I imagine this band spends an inordinate amount of time in a practice studio just vibing out a track, just vibing out a riff, vibing out a track. And it's great here. You mentioned, there's a bit of the graveyard about the vocals. There's huge swaths of Ozzy Osbourne here. Like some of those, like that high cadence. Right? Some of the note choices that move into the higher ranges is like, it's fucking, you close your eyes and it's a Scandinavian Ozzy Osbourne, you know what I mean? But it works so well. I love I love the switch in the guitars between those kind of more lead moments, and they'll just hit a pedal. You get big block power chord movements right through. We mentioned Heavy Burden Blues. It's a great example of that because it skirts between like kind of playful lead work and big block boom 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 like sections like that. And what I love about it is like everyone just slips into that as well. You get like you just get this is what I mean about just feeling like it's so well rehearsed and so jammed. The drums just moving this really nice light touch before slamming it down. It's like they just have it for days. The production on this is just killer. Like some of the guitar leads as well. You mentioned Cream. Cream is actually one of the bands I was thinking of. Like that kind of I just imagine the smoke machine has been turned on so much that you're almost asphyxiated. You know what I mean? There's only 3 lights in the on-stage thing, and they're the primary colours. It's red, blue, and green. You know, like you're fucked, right? And the band are doing the best they can to just but they can't really see the audience, so they're just focused in on what they're playing, and that's what this kind of sounds like. It is like Stoner if Stoner was stoned by a stoner. You know what I mean? It's like it's just it's the equivalent of being inside the bong, Dave, is what I'm saying. be not just be the bong, be inside the bong. But it works for their sound. There's just a kind of a lumbering, deliberate, lethargic, but at times really interesting pace that the album sets itself out. And you're right, Chrysalis, which is the final track on here, which is the longest track by like a couple of minutes compared to anything else. I think the closest is Shivering, which is a track that is like so well done. It's the one where it's the first track you get those like the idea that there was something heavier in the DNA of the band.
Yeah.
And it's kind of revisited, but never to the extent. But Chrysalis, we've said this before. If you're in this genre, the closing track needs to be long. Like you can't you don't get out with we'll just do it 3.5 minutes, guys. Like the producer's throwing things at you, saying double it minimum. But what do we do? Fucking right. So, and it works for the band. I don't think, like you mentioned it before, Bogwife are not bringing anything to the table that you haven't heard other bands do before. But I actually think their sound is like having not the context of the previous stuff to see that journey through and just coming in as is. It sounds so accomplished. So like when you mentioned Cora, I was like, that's not the band I like. But you explained it. I was like, no, on this one they didn't. It really sounds, and it's surprising with the time difference you're saying between albums. It hasn't been a huge amount of time here.
No.
For what I perceive as a not a sea change in the sound, but a change as much as the band leaning into trying something else. And to be honest, I think this sound is great for them. I don't have the context to say we're better on an album ago. I love this. I think it's fully realised. It's brilliant. It's filled out. The production is it's a really handsome addition, and they're really good at what they do. I like those moments where you just have like huge kind of lead work and just those vocals soaring like an eagle, like above everything that's happening underneath, and that great percussion section just holding like everything tightly together is what this genre is built on. And they're fucking good at it. And there's innumerable moments on this album where they just give you those moments where you're like, oh, goddamn. You know, there are those like just big old goddamn moments. So yeah, this is awesome. It blows my, because once again, I didn't do the PR or anything like that. I had assumed America, because it is riddled with the blues.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much blues in this that I just assumed like American South.
Yeah.
I could not be more wrong. If I fucking tried.
Yeah.
So, but that's a testament to them because they encapsulate that sound just as good as any band from over there. Yeah. So, yeah, I had a good time with this, man.
Yeah. Okay, scores for From Ashes by Bogwife. I mean, like, as you said, like, if you are into bands like Graveyard, The Sword, Kyuss, like Greenleaf, that type of sound, then
yes.
You're gonna love this. I mean, it's not like reinventing the wheel or anything, but like they're very good at it. I'm gonna go 4 out of 5 on this. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'll definitely come back to this one throughout the year. A real fun listen. What about yourself? What are you thinking?
I think we are spending too much time together. I'm also giving this a 4.
Oh.
So yeah, I smiled a lot listening to this. Hard not to. And yeah, thank you internet thank you Press Statement and Dave's Filter, which only looks for Jakob Bredel and Brad Boatwright, for bringing this to our attention. They're on the radar now. We'll be watching from afar with keen interest.
Yeah. So From Ashes is out on November 7th on Majestic Mountain Records. Check out the links to the band, the pre-order, one of the singles, have a listen, see what you think. Happy to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. That is the review. Thanks for checking out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Catch you on the next one.
Bye everyone.
Don't